On this episode, we are back with our 15th installment of questions from our Main Street Magic Community Facebook group. Today's December 20th, 2022. This is episode 523 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic Community and ask to join. Then if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you're going to get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And if you're getting ready to plan your next Disney or Universal vacation, looking to go on a cruise or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you. So we are back with another edition of our Main Street Magic Community Q&A from Facebook. If you've not joined that group, of course, go out and search for it and ask to join. And we had so many questions last time that we did a part 14. This is now part 15. Had a little break with some trip reviews. And I guess first, before we get into the questions, what did we do this morning?
Well, we packed and we are all ready for our Christmas trip, which will be in 4 days.
And it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas because the high on Christmas Eve is like 48. And I think Christmas Day is like 52.
When it's cold, it'll be cold from here on out until for sure after Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting. It's weird because it has been a little warmer. So I'm all ready to work the next 3 days, and I've already got my outfits laid out, and then I've got my outfit laid out for Thursday when we head to Universal.
Yeah.
So
one of the things I feel like
crazy.
I've been here for 17 years. How long have I lived here? I moved in 2005?
Something like
right?
that.
Something like that. So I've been here for like 17 years. And one of the things I've never fully gotten used to would be wearing like shorts and a t-shirt on Christmas Day outside.
Yeah.
Like I've always missed. We have. And one thing I really missed was like a cold Christmas. Not any other days. Like I'm so glad that this weekend is going to be cool down there and colder for us. Like to me, it just invokes more of that feeling than when you're out back, frying a turkey for Christmas lunch in flip-flops and shorts and a t-shirt. So yeah. I'm super excited for the temps.
I am too, because I get to wear all my Christmas spirit jerseys,
that's the other thing, yeah.
My hats, my gloves. Like, I'm excited.
It was funny though. Ron and I were talking this morning and I was like, we have the Be Nice to Cast Member holiday shirts. Those are still on sale, I believe, if you want to pick that up or anything else up. And I was like, well, nobody's going to get to see our shirts because we're going to have long sleeves on the whole time. And within like an hour, Chuck had messaged me and he's like, I'm really glad I got these holiday Be Nice to Cast Member shirts. Nobody's going to see it because I'll be wearing a jacket or a sweatshirt over it. So it was funny, but we went down to Michael's and got Rhonda a sweatshirt. We're going to make a Be Nice to Cast Member sweatshirt for her. And then I couldn't find anything, but I might get something on Amazon to be delivered in time and we'll just make a couple real quick. But that's not what this episode's about. It is another Q&A. And we're going to start right off with Steve. And what question does Steve have for us, Rhonda?
This makes me laugh. It is, how would you improve Coronado Springs? And honestly, it's so funny because we were actually, when we were packing earlier, I yelled to Jeremy and was like, I didn't bring a bathing suit because the pool is so far away, even though they have the largest hot tub on property, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk all the way over there. So I think what I would do is somehow finagle either a pool and a hot tub near the tower, on the tower, the tower.
Well, that was one of the biggest complaints is people said, all right, you added X number of rooms but didn't add an additional kind of main pool. I mean, they've got the other quiet pools, but they didn't add. I think it would have been neat if even they had done a quiet pool with maybe hot tub right there, at the base of Grand Destino Tower. Almost could have been out front where that lawn is. Of course, you don't want to take that away. For me, the one thing that would vastly improve Coronado Springs and take it to an absolute other level than it already is Skyliner.
Oh, yeah.
I think that if they were, this is considered an Animal Kingdom resort area. I think that if they were to go and say, all right, we're going to build another Skyliner, it's not even going to be attached to the current route, but we're going to have one that goes from the Values at All Stars, which is right outside of Animal Kingdom's door. Mm-hmm. It's going to take you to Animal Kingdom Lodge, Animal Kingdom, and Coronado Springs. I think, it would just be an absolute game changer. It's the only real, I think, complaint that most people end up having about Coronado is the bus system. But you have that same complaint if you stay at Riverside or you stay at Caribbean Beach. Now, Skyliner is a huge game changer there, but still, I think that is truly the only improvement that you could make to Coronado Springs.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, maybe that actually might be a neat topic for an episode where we go through every resort and say, what is something realistically that could be done to improve this resort? And Skyliner here, or like you said, a Grand Destino dedicated pool area. It would have been cool if they built one like on the roof, but I don't know if I want to swim like 17 floors up. I don't like one of the things. I love Grand Destino and I love being up there, but I don't like towers. I don't like high floors. Like I love most of Disney because you're usually not going more than 4 floors up.
Right.
Like I sometimes have almost small anxiety attacks over thinking of Barcelona Lounge standing outside and looking over that edge. Like it makes me feel a little bit weird in my stomach sometimes. So I don't know how well I would do with a pool up there. But I think those two things would definitely vastly improve Coronado, even though it really needs no improvement.
Yeah.
Next from Tiana, love the name. She asked, what made you fall in love with Disney? Is there something specific for you?
I think the fact that, because I don't like being an adult sometimes, and I like staying a child. I love that. I think, I don't know, I've always loved Disney and everything about it.
Because you grew up very
kind of
loving Disney, right? I mean,
Beauty and the Beast, Ariel. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we went
VHSs.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, you had all those and those big plastic clamshell boxes. Yeah, I mean, I grew up, I wasn't a Disney fan growing up. I mean, we went a few times and loved it because that was like what you did. I mean, it was a family destination and that's what you did. And I remember always really enjoying it,
right.
But I wasn't like in love with it. I wasn't like, oh, I got to go see this movie. My first, probably greatest love for anything Disney was related was Toy Story. And I was like 14 at that point. So I was still a kid at heart, at that age. I mean, I know I've told this story, but you go back to October of 2015 when you and I went to see 21 Pilots at House of Blues, and we stayed at Port Orleans at the French Quarter. Cool. It was our first ever moderate resort. We had always done Values or Fort Wilderness prior, and I really enjoyed them, and we enjoyed taking the kids and, going 2 or 3 times a year. But I remember at that moment realizing that, whoa, there's so much more than just these theme parks.
Right.
Going to Disney Springs, being, taking the boat over there from Port Orleans, like seeing what this resort offered the next morning, getting beignets and coffee. It was like, this truly is an entire destination. This isn't just about theme parks.
Correct.
There's so much more. And then that just enthralled us into, I guess, this entire Disney culture of loving the movies and Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar and Disney movies. And, I certainly think, meeting so many wonderful people through the podcast or just through going to trips, cast members, all of that kind of would just like solidify it. But that was the moment I just will never forget. October 2015 going, whoa, there's a lot more to this. And then 2 months later, we got our annual passes.
That was so fun.
So that was definitely the moment. But I think even if you look at it from the outside, even without going, like to me, Universal feels like the parks and resorts.
Okay.
Like I don't see their entire like movies and culture, I feel like, shine the way that Disney does. Like you could only go to Disney once a year or never go. And I feel like you can still be this giant Disney fan who just loves the movies and loves, the TV specials and songs and things like that. Whereas Universal, I mean, I know we've got Harry Potter and Jurassic and stuff, but like they don't feel like a family together. You know what I mean? Like Harry Potter, and I don't consider like Harry Potter and Jurassic World or Jurassic Park like the same.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Unless you're at the park, like outside of it. Like I think of watching a Disney movie or a Pixar movie or a Marvel movie, and they all feel like they're part of the same organization and family. And I know Harry Potter's Warner Brothers, but Universal got the rights to the theme parks and all that. But I'm just saying, like,
I think I see where you're going
outside. You know what I mean? I don't get Universal. To me, as much as we love the parks, it kind of stops there. And we certainly like movies that Universal puts out, and we love the Grinch and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, it doesn't have that full overarching just reign that Disney does, where when you're outside of the parks, everything still you can look around this office, it's still very Disney.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine like lining this entire office with stuff that Universal put out.
Okay.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it just depends on how big of a fan, because
for sure. And when you look at like a Harry Potter or a Jurassic, you could certainly go, it's like full dead on into that.
You got Transformers, a lot of car people that we used to hang out with, like were huge Transformers fans. So, I mean, I could see it. Yeah. It's just that's not different. The way your love went.
Right. No, it's not.
So
and I do love Universal. I'm super excited to go on Thursday. I'm so glad that we added that day in there. It's probably a really great decision by whoever made and thought up that idea. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to a question from Gretchen. This is a wonderful question. Rhonda, what is the question and how would you answer this one?
I don't know, because it is, you have Bob Iger's full attention for 15 minutes. What do you say?
I can tell you what I would say. And I think I could get it in 15 minutes. I would literally say, basically, here's how we felt as a pass holder family 5 years ago. Here's how we feel now.
Okay.
And just kind of go through the things, and it can go beyond that, beyond pass holders. It can go to, even though we never utilized it, I did it once, Magical Express going away. Mm-hmm. I know so many people would step off of that plane and that was the introduction to their vacation, was getting on the Magical Express.
Yep.
Now it's getting into an Uber or getting, the Mears taxi service or the Sunshine Flyer or whatever. And it's not starting until they arrive. Like my biggest thing would be saying like, I totally understand Disney is a business, but to us personally, it didn't feel that way 5 years ago.
Right.
It truly felt like the higher ups and the people planning things at Disney. We've personally never seen anything less than magic from cast members and inside the parks and all. To me, none of that has changed.
Right.
It's that higher up where you start to feel like they're counting pennies. And again, I understand they're a business. They got to make money. They got to, their shareholders want them to make money. I totally get it, but it never used to feel that way. Literally, when they raised pass holder prices or ticket prices 5 years ago, it just felt different than it does today, if that makes sense. So I think that is what I would say to him. And I would prefer that 15 minutes is at Victoria and Albert's.
Okay.
What would you say? What is, well, I mean, again, you've got now Bob Iger, who I think is a very willing to listen CEO. And I really do believe he wants to hear from Disney fans and park goers. And
you know what's funny? I don't know if I'd try to tell him anything about Disney. I'd ask him how he thinks and why he does the things that he does.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know, that would be not 15 minutes, but,
right.
And just almost has he walked a mile in a guest
shoes. Well, that's one of the things. And I know we talked about this before, and Lynn Testa in that Wall Street Journal article is the one who put it so perfectly. He needs to undercover boss this thing, right?
That'd be amazing.
Imagine if Bob Iger himself sat down and went on Disney's website and said, I'm going to plan a vacation for my family. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to book dining reservations at 60 days. I'm going to learn how to use Genie Plus and individual lightning lane. I'm going to book them each day. I'm going to stare at my phone all day. I'm going to go through the parks as a regular park goer, exactly the way that we all experience it. And I can't even say we experience that way. Like this truly, this Christmas trip is going to be us going back and experiencing it as regular park goers, not really as annual pass holders in a way, because we had to buy the girls tickets and we're going to use Genie Plus and we're going to, buy individual lightning lanes. So we can't even always say we know what the average family from Denver and the way that they feel and come and experience a park. And I think he and every higher up should do that. Imagine if you're Bob Iger and you go, all right, you know what? I'm going to run the Doom buggies at Haunted Mansion for a shift. I'm going to be a greeter at a resort front door for a shift. I'm going to be, I would hope that he is going to take the time, and I think he will, and DMR has always done it, to sit down with cast members and with park guests and just say, tell me what you think, and be 100% honest.
Right.
And if he does nothing with that information, fine, whatever.
Right.
But he asked. And I think he would probably be very surprised on some of the things that he would.
But that's what I
hear.
would also like to ask him. Like not only does what he think, but what does he care about?
Yeah, finances aside,
right? Because
what is important to you?
There are people in the world that, we just watched the Disney special last night, the new one,
gosh, it was so good.
with this sweet little black boy that was giving back.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. That story.
Was. Jeremy cried. But it was, I tried not to literally because I already put makeup on. But it was this great story, and his parents were so amazing. And he's 12 years old, and he was giving to homeless people, and he has this trailer that
they basically get to come in and shop.
They get to shop for free, of course. And it's amazing. And that's all he wants to do is give back. And I just kind of think like there's people like that in the world, but then there's also people that they have a lot of money, and I don't know that they care about like people that don't have money, I guess.
Well, it's hard to tell because, when you're in that position, you don't know what it's like.
Right.
And again, we don't either.
Oh.
We don't know what it's like to save up $4,000 or $5,000 for a once a year or once in a lifetime Disney trip. And we don't know what that's like. And he certainly doesn't either, obviously. But yeah, I would even go down to the point. We're sitting here. I absolutely love my little pass holder glass. When was this from? 2016, where they were giving out these wonderful etched pass holder glasses at Food and Wine. And we have a set of 4 of them because we each had an annual pass and we each were able to get one. The cutting boards that, we used to get. We've got these wooden coasters with Minnie Mouse on them. Like now we've relegated all to a magnet, which I do love. And please keep giving them to us. I like them. But those are the types of things where I totally get that costs are going to increase every year. They should. They have to.
Right.
Basically. But when you constantly are increasing costs and then offering people less when they used to get more, that is a big issue. And that's where, again, I think I would say something along those lines. Like look at the hotel perks. Now, I still believe that staying on property at a Disney-owned resort has plenty of perks that aren't early hours or Magical Express or this or that. I still think there's a lot of perks, but when that used to be the bullet point list of why you stayed on property, and now those bullet points are really starting to go away.
Yeah,
that's the types of things I would love for him to know. I don't think he's gonna get in a time machine and reverse us back to pre-Chapek. And certainly Iger we've said this before. Iger was a decision maker in a lot of these things that came out. Chapek came in and instituted them, and everybody hated him for it. You don't think Iger was part of you don't think Iger was part of Genie Plus and taking away, Magical Express and all those things? He was the one who started it. Right. Chapek came in, said, I'll play the villain. I'll even grow a beard halfway through so it makes me look more like Thanos. And that's what he decided to do. All right, next we're going to move on to a question from Nicole. She says, how did you come up with your theme song? It's very catchy and an earworm. I wake up to that tune in the middle of the night. Did people sing it when they meet you? We have had people sing it when they meet us.
That was
super awesome. Cool. So his name is Travis, and he owns TFresh Productions. He lives out in the Midwest somewhere. I think he might be like Ohio. And I'm a huge, huge fan. I think we've told this story before. I'm a huge fan of Scrubs and Donald Faison and Zach Braff. And when they started the Scrubs Rewatch podcast, I started listening to it. And after they got started, they had a listener named Travis, who's a music teacher, who basically wrote some jingles for little segments of theirs. So I was like, well, that's really cool. What if we had a theme song? So I reached out to him. I was like, what would this take? What would you charge?
Right.
And he gave me a price, and I was like, all right, I can make that happen. What do you need from me? And basically, he didn't really know Disney very much. And he came back with what you hear is 99% what he first gave us. Yeah. I sent him a couple podcasts. I told him about us. I was like, look, we got 2 kids. We love going. We're this and that. The only line was, he originally said, Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Magic Kingdom, because he thought literally Magic Kingdom was Disney World. And didn't realize what else there was. So I just said, is there any way that you can switch that out for theme parks? Because we do Universal as well. And he came back and he gave me the version that is the version that says Disney World. And he was like, it just didn't sound right. I hope this is cool. And I'm like, this is outstanding. So we gave him no idea. We didn't give him any sort of like, here's how we want it to sound. Here's the words we want. Here's anything. I mean, I was absolutely blown away that that's what he came back with.
Yeah.
And our whole point was to have it be something that was catchy, but a little bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But like, again, I mean, and that's exactly what it is. It's absolutely perfect and we love it. So thank you, Travis. Check him out. TFresh Productions. Anything you wanted to add to the theme song? Because I just took that one over.
No, that's fine because it is the funniest part when they did come up and start singing it. And I was like, oh goodness. Okay. And it was so just surprising, I think, because this was a little newer with the theme song.
Yeah, this was I feel like a month or two after we had come out with it.
But then hearing like the little kids sing it across our listeners, like I love
my favorite,
it.
remember, I can't remember her name. I apologize, that messaged us and said that her daughter was like, loves the song. And she was like, I know who Jeremy and Rhonda are, but who's Fonda?
Oh yeah.
Remember that? And so we had to explain. We're like, no, here's where it comes from. But even that, when you take, all right, rhyming Rhonda or Jeremy with anything is not easy.
Oh, Rhonda and Honda.
Right. So how are we fitting that one in a theme song?
I don't know, but I used to want a Honda because my name was Rhonda. And I was going to put an R in front of it. Yeah.
Oh, I am so glad.
It was going to be a Rhonda.
I'm so glad you didn't do that.
Why?
It just sounds awful, if I'm being
honest. It'd have been so cute.
Oh my goodness. No, I just love the way that he took something like that. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Good work, Travis. We're going to move on to Kendall. It says, what is your favorite hidden Mickey or Easter egg in the parks or Disney movies? We'll start with that one. She has a couple questions here. Gosh, we used to be super into the hidden Mickeys. My favorite one is in El Centro at Coronado Springs.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
So there is one in the old lobby. As you're heading towards the tunnel to head towards Gran Destino Tower, there is basically a hidden Mickey on the back side that the sun shines through at certain times during the day and then casts. No, I think it's the sun shining through, isn't it? Oh, it is lights?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. But it lights a hidden Mickey up on the wall.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Oh, I thought you were actually going
favorite.
with the Three Bridges one.
Good one at Three Bridges.
That's a good
I do
one.
love that.
I don't know what my favorite would be. I love when I just see them. I think honestly, possibly my favorite ones, because I never walk on them, are the ones on the grates. Like, I'm a weirdo and I don't walk usually on the grates, and I look down all the time when I walk. And I see them on the ground, like water or whatever it's called. I don't know what they're called. I just see them throughout on the grounds too.
I love for the Easter eggs, I love first of all, Pixar has incredible Easter eggs throughout. We could do an entire series on the Easter eggs in Pixar
100%
movies, all the way down from the number 112 to like the Pizza Planet truck showing up and other things to like absolutely wonderful. Go down a YouTube rabbit hole if you don't know what some of them are.
Oh yeah.
I do love the little carved out submarine in the Little Mermaid queue. That is a nod to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that used to be there.
That's right.
That's in the rock formation, and it looks like the old submarine from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I think is super duper cool. Another one of her questions is, I love this question because this is something like, well, I'll say it after we ask the question. If you could experience something Disney related for the first time again, what would it be? Riding an attraction, seeing Magic Kingdom, whatever. If we could get a blinky thing like Men in Black, I would love to walk up to Rise of a Resistance and blinky us and do Rise of Resistance for the first time again.
Really? Why?
Because it was one of those where we did it opening day. There wasn't a ton of info. Any info that was about it, I tried to stay away from. So there were surprises. I knew that there was this big grand scale attraction, but I didn't know every detail. I would do the same for Cosmic Rewind, to ride Cosmic Rewind again for the first time, or opening of Galaxy's Edge is one of my favorite moments ever. Like, I get chills just thinking of as we were walking into Batuu and it was lined with cast members and executives and they're all cheering and clapping. Yeah. Like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. Staying at Gran Destino for the first time. That weekend we went on opening weekend and book Kronos Club. And like to walk into, I love walking into something we've never seen or done before and getting to experience that. Like, this is what people experience. We used to be so good about Disney first. We created a Disney first every trip. I remember one time it was Kaylin and I riding Rock and Roller Coaster in the front row.
Right.
We had never done that.
Right.
And so I think there's all these different things, though, that you can experience again for the first time. Is there something for you, whether it be a resort we stayed at or a ride or
I would
eating somewhere?
love to go back to, and well, I mean, obviously the ride's not here, but Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And because I really don't remember riding that, but I feel like I'm sure
like you probably did. I don't know if I ever did. I have zero memory of it if I did.
And ditto, I do too.
And to be the crazy part is when I go back and I look at some photos of the trips we did go on growing up, Magic Kingdom is barely represented. Like we spent a lot of time in Epcot.
Right.
You know, and I think it's because both of my parents were educators, and I really believe that they were like, if we're taking you out of school.
Back then, Epcot was.
It was so educational, especially with all the countries. And I remember going through them, and I'm like, I'm not in school right now. Quit trying to learn me. I don't want to be learning right now. Like,
But yeah, and I think if I could do anything again, and I know it would be a different experience even if we do it again, but Keys of the Kingdom for sure.
Oh, yes. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
What I love about that, though, is that when we do it again, and we will, I bet it'll still feel very much like the first time because each of your tour guides is going to be very different. Right. Where you eat can be different. What rides you get to see behind the scenes of and all can be different. So I think that would be super cool. And then she had one final question. If you could have a Disney character's wardrobe, whose would you choose? I'd choose Baymax. He's naked. That was a joke.
Oh.
I think Flynn Rider's get up is pretty sweet.
I just heard to say, I was thinking earlier, and I was like, I think Merida.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Well, it's hard for some of them because you look at like all right, now you could certainly go throughout, Flynn Rider's wearing the same thing all the time. Like, look at a Beauty and the Beast. How many things does Belle wear throughout that?
2.
I guess she really just wears a blue dress and the yellow gown, right? No, that's true. Huh. Goofies. I would pick Goofies.
I just started to say, I think of like characters like at Disney World, and holy moly, Minnie Mouse has the most
best outfits around.
Like,
ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
So I guess I would say hers, technically.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a really solid answer, actually. Because it just says any Disney character. It doesn't have, we immediately went to the movies. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I mean, Minnie's wardrobe isn't, I mean, so is Mickey's. I mean, they both have incredible wardrobes.
I mean, anything. You name it. You name it, they have it. I know they do. Like, I mean, even like St. Patty's Day or like Easter.
You wouldn't go with Ariel?
I mean, she's got a tail and a clamshells.
Not all the time.
And then she has
then I would go with Ariel.
that she wraps around her. Then she has a pink dress.
Yeah. I mean, you're selling me on it. I'll tell you that much. I think that would be a pretty good one. I like that. I like that a lot, though. I do like Olaf's little get up in the Once Upon a Snowman and Frozen Adventure and stuff when he gets his little bow tie and things like that. Christy asks, ever wanted to go to another Disney park? I have a chance to go to Euro Disney in Paris, and I don't know where to stay, and I'm looking for a podcast that matches yours. I believe it was Jossie that did respond to you, Christy, and said that Carly Wiesel has a really good episode on Euro Disney Paris and all of that.
That
would be a really good one to go and look at. What is your number one other Disney park outside of Walt Disney World?
Probably the same as Christy.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to go? You want to do Disneyland Paris?
Yeah.
Just because you want to go to Paris,
yes.
Or more so? Yeah, that's your main thing. I mean, I still want to go. I want to do Tokyo and of course Disneyland. But yes, we 100% would like to go to other parks. And I don't know if other people feel this way that maybe live, whether you're close to Disneyland or you're close to here or you're close to an overseas park, like being 2 hours door to door from the biggest park that has the most to offer, it's almost hard not to go there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just so accessible for us.
But that's where we'd have to stop and save.
That we would.
And then go. So,
yep. I mean, that's what we're going to have to do when we plan a Disneyland trip is say, all right, we've got to put together a budget. We can't just go, hey, let's go down this month for a night or two. And we got to really plan, and we got to do it like
we might have
regular
to
guests.
Completely stop going to even Disney World.
All right, we have to settle down at that part. All right, next we're going to move on to Chad. Says DVC members have a complimentary behind the scenes tour of Soarin' that they could experience. I did not know that.
Wow.
He said it's very difficult to get. What attraction would you like to have a behind-the-scenes experience of, and why? I know mine. Haunted Mansion.
I just started to say Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of history on Haunted Mansion. We know a lot about it from, the behind the scenes and stuff like that on Disney Plus, and just reading about it and it coming from Disneyland and all.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to walk through it or ride through it with the lights on.
No, I would want to walk through it. I'd want to look at everything. I'd want to venture off the walkway.
Yeah.
And look at other things and see,
I'd love,
the one Pepper's Ghost.
Yes, I want to see that in person. I want to see the actual animatronics in person, not from the Pepper's Ghost effect, and actually see them. I think that would be cool. We really want to do. We got to find a time to do it. Is the behind the scenes tour? Yeah, I think that would be super fascinating. We've ridden through Space Mountain and seen Space Mountain with the lights on. I'd be very interested. And I know there's some photos out there and all of Cosmic Rewind with the lights on, just to see what it truly looks like. That would be a fun one. Rise of Resistance, I think, would be a really cool behind the scenes. If you could actually walk between all the stormtroopers type of thing. Or I want to get a more detailed look at that Kylo Ren effect as he's walking towards you.
Yeah.
Different things like that, or really figure out the animatronics, look at the animatronics and the way that they're done. I think that would be a super duper cool one. And I'd like to stand outside of the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and see the screens and everything, see the way that that's done as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to basically see behind the scenes of all rides.
I just started to say, would you just like to be an Imagineer and just design stuff?
Hey, speaking of Imagineers, Mitchell asked if you could meet any Disney Imagineer, past or present, who would it be and why?
I'm going to say, honestly, Mitchell, this is awful, but I have no idea because I don't know that kind of the part to it like Jeremy does.
I mean, I think if you go back to some of the OGs like Marty Sklar and Mary Blair. And
I don't know who any of
those people are. A lot of the Tony Baxter, who I tried to frickin' meet on that Epcot After Hours thing, and I never got around to it, who walked right past us in Coronado Springs, and I wish I'd just said anything to him. As legendary as there are so many Imagineers that started it all and worked alongside Walt, I am absolutely more than fascinated by Joe Rohde. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Fascinated.
That would be the only
him.
one, because I do know him. I met him. We've seen him a couple of times in the parks.
Met him. But I would want to.
We met him.
Yeah, I mean, yes, a couple times. I would, again, talk about 15 minutes with Bob Iger, 15 minutes with Joe Rohde would probably just blow my mind. And this is going to sound bad to say it. I feel like he created more the Disney that we know. It's, again, I didn't grow up going to Disney when I was 1 year old to go, all right, this is what the original Imagineers built, in a sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Disney that we're very familiar with, a lot of that came from Joe Rohde. You look at Animal Kingdom Lodge and Animal Kingdom specifically.
Right.
So knowing that he was a part of that, and then if you just follow him on Instagram, he's just an absolutely fascinating human being who is super intelligent and has this amazing quick wit about him. When you see him respond sometimes to people on Instagram or Twitter and things like that, I think he would be fascinating to sit down with. And so, at Victoria and Albert's.
Okay.
One of these, I'm getting there one of these days somehow.
Okay.
That's one we'd have to set aside and budget for. That'd be all right, we have to literally set aside. Finally, Mark asks, when did Disney stop enforcement of rules concerning selfie sticks? Saw too many while on vacation. Mark, I would like to know as well. I've seen them. And I'm super surprised because they were super strict about them for a while. Down to the point where we would take in a gimbal and we would get asked every time, does that extend in any way? And I noticed it too, Mark, recently. I mean, remember we had the one girl who was doing Instagram or TikTok or whatever that was all dressed up. She had legit like a tripod.
A full tripod. Crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know when they did. I'm hoping they're still enforcing them on rides because that was a big issue, was people holding them out on rides and roller coasters. I don't know though.
I don't either. I would think because it's like a stick and what if they got mad and wanted to beat somebody else?
You went straight to it just being used to beat another human being.
Because people are crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
And scary.
Be nice to cast members, folks.
Yeah.
Be nice.
100%.
And we could almost update that shirt we wanted the focus to be specifically on cast members and show them our appreciation, but just be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're getting ready to come into one of the craziest times of the year here with Christmas and New Year's. The parks are going to be busier than ever. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing that they opened up a whole bunch of reservations for Christmas because they were gone forever. I don't know if people canceled or all of a sudden they were like, hey, we can squish a whole bunch more nuts to butts up in this place. But there's a lot of availability at resorts. Like, I don't know what it's going to look like. And it being our first ever actual Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I know Magic Kingdom's going to be nuts on Christmas Day, and we're going to tuck our heads in there and check it out. But yeah, just be nice on your trip. You know, we've always said, look, I know you spent a lot of money on your trip. Guess who else did? Everyone
Everybody
who's
else.
there. So
Yeah.
no single guest is more important than
Yep.
any others. You know, whether
And
you're
I
staying
get-
at an All-Star or you're staying at the Grand Flow.
Yeah, and I
You
get
know?
you having a stick because you want to get those great pictures
Yeah.
and just again, if you do, you know, and I hope, Mark, that you did
Hope you didn't have any
these-
bad experiences with it.
Right, and I'm just hoping that you did have like fine experiences where they were just trying to take pictures and not being annoying and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, just be courteous, in my opinion. You know,
For sure.
Take
I have a
picture.
built-in selfie stick. It's my arm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one who always has to take the selfies because my
Because
arm
you're
can get the
so
furthest away from
Tall, weirdo.
everyone else and fit us all in.
Yeah.
Well, we love doing these. We come back with one of these episodes about every other month or so. We usually break it up into 2 parts because you guys asked the absolute best questions. These are literally
Yes,
some of
thank
my
you guys.
favorites to do.
Yep.
Like,
Thank you.
Because
for
we get to just
everything.
really sit and talk. Like, we don't really plan anything. We don't have to
Mhm.
research. We just get to talk and answer your awesome questions. So we will do this again very, very soon. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you do want to follow along with some of our Christmas trip and more that is coming, go ahead and check out Maine ST Magic on all the social media channels. You can check out our Patreon group at wonderlandcrew.com. We'd love if you subscribe. You're going to get the brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And your Christmas gift to us could be simply to leave us a rating and review.
Because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.